Hello everybody, my name is McBoneless, and yes, I am a bone. Whenever said bonuses for armor were announced to be coming in Edge of Fate, I was thrilled. I was excited to finally have a reason to not only chase good rolls of armor, but also specific armor sets that can further enhance my gameplay and build crafting. Flash to now, we're a little over 7 months into the new Edge of Fate armor system, and I've been pretty disappointed in how little I care to actually go farm for armor sets. Today, I'm going to go through the PvE armor sets and list the issues with them, as well as some suggestions for how Bungie can enhance future armor set releases down the line in order for players like myself to want to chase them. I will not be covering any PvP sets as I don't care. Ha! As a disclaimer, I'm not going to verbatim read out each of the descriptions. I'm just going to say my thoughts on them and see how useful or useless they are in the current sandbox meta. Finally, it should be stated, these are my opinions, these are my thoughts, and these are not facts. Aeon Renewal pretty much just gives you a speed booster, but when you consider how easy it is to get the amplified buff across all three classes, you'd honestly be wasting your time to grind for this set. Getting AoE and self-damage DR isn't bad, especially if you're just running a 2-piece. The 4-piece is a little bit niche, but not bad overall. Bushido is a decent beginner armor set. You get a bit of passive healing going on with the 2-piece. Now the 4-piece is not as great, and you honestly should just run another stronger 2-piece alongside this one. Collective Psyche is what I want to see more of, and that is more subclass verb buffing. I think it's pretty cool that the 4-piece does this. However, Solar and Strand is only 2 of the 6 subclasses in the game. And even then, there might be some 2-piece combos that are as a whole better for the Solar or Strand build that you're running. The 2-piece for Ferropotent is the best for just a solid 10% DR that is basically up at all times. 4-piece is good for ammo regen, but not really needed. It is also a good substitute for the Smoke Jumper 2-piece if you do not have that. Now, I don't actually own this armor set at all. You know, maybe if Bungie actually had Iron Banner run for a week, that would be cool. Anyways, the 4-piece set seems to be a good panic option and can get you some health in dangerous situations. Alright, so considering the 4-piece only gives you 35 HP, and it's a 4-piece, I genuinely cannot recommend farming and using this. Like, Bushido 2-piece heals for the exact same amount, and it's arguably the same amount of work. It's funny because this set seems so solar-centric, but usually with Solar, you're already running something that gives you Cure or Restoration. This is the first armor set that I want to not only actively farm for good stats, but also acquire a solid 4-piece of. Getting both class and grenade energy on sword hits, not kills by the way, is really good. There's no reason not to be running this set when using a sword build. Smoke Jumper is just more DR from an Orb of Power pickup. It is a boring perk, but is very good and very solid. Swordmaster 4-piece has insane potential as you get around 50% DR for blocking damage with a sword or a glaive, so it's not bad at all. At the same time, you're able to apply exhaust to targets on hit, which is less damage output for the enemy. It is overall pretty decent, but it is also contending with Sage Protector. TechSec is somewhat of the kinetic damage set. It has a built-in kinetic blast in the 4-piece that is able to disorient enemies, while the 2-piece increases kinetic damage towards shields, vehicles, and constructs. It is fairly niche, but not bad. I can honestly say I've used both the 2-piece and the 4-piece of this set, and I can hardly feel the effects of it at all. Like, I know it's doing something, and it says it's doing something, and I see it happening, but yet I feel like nothing is happening. So yeah, that's my impression of this set. Now this technically is a PvP set, but I did want to note that 2-piece Twofold Crown has a niche interaction this season specifically. If you are running the Kinetic Synthesis mod, you're able to get the HP restoration from Ammo Brick pickup quite easily. But it kind of will only work for this season, so honestly it may not be worth going into the no man's land that is the Trials playlist. This raid set feels like a slap in the face compared to the regular Desert Perpetual armor set. You just get HP restoration, and not solar restoration by the way, after casting your super. It's not bad, but it's not great. I mean, who is running this when you can just have a Warlock cast well or a Healing Rift during DPS? If it had been increased super damage, we might have been talking, but it's not. Now, out of all of those, the only sets that I have actively wanted to grind for is Sage Protector, Ferropotent, and Smoke Jumper. If If you're including the PvP sets, that is 3 out of 18 sets. That is really bad. If this isn't a bad sign that loot is in a terrible state, I don't know what is. Now, realistically, I am not, as a player, going to grind for every set that comes out, as a certain set may not have something useful specifically to me or the build that I want to use, which I understand. But 1 out of 6, Bungie? Like, come on. So what should be done to fix this? Well, just make the armor sets better. Duh. It is obvious to me that Bungie is quite scared to deliver strong armor sets. As if they delivered a super strong and universal set that just power crept all of the other sets, then no one would want to farm for new armor sets, and the game would be in the exact same spot it was in pre-Edge of Fate. I do appreciate that they're being slow and safe on some of these sets, but Bungie, I think you guys can push on the gas a little bit more. I'd like to see some more sets that go into other subclasses like Void, Arc, etc. Also, bring back Smoke Jumper. Why was the first season's armor and weapons moved out of the loot pool? What the heck? Mint Retrograde is the best gun in the game, and you can hardly get it except in clan engrams. That is just wild to me. That is insane. Like, they, without warning, removed all of those weapons and the armor from the loot pool without saying anything. That is wild to me. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Leave me a comment if you have any issues with what I said about armor sets, or if you agree with me. Please be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. If you got a spare hype to use, I wouldn't mind if you use it on this video. See you in the next one.